Yeah.
Vainglorious Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United front. What you want?
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square solid in your circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick a can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And US with KBA is a win-win. 1K.
Knowledge born. What's the science, baby?
Yeah. It's after midnight.
Guess who's black in the motherfucking house?
Shay Bliggity in the building. It's after midnight. It's knowledge born. What's the science? You understand what I'm saying? Y'all know what it is. We here.
That's a fact.
I said we building. We adding on. We arguing. It's something. We doing something. We doing something. Okay?
Yeah.
We doing something. And I want to do it with my brother. You understand what I'm saying? Jersey in here all day, every day. And you know, it is what it is, man. So
we getting the double dosage right now.
The double doses of Jersey dope. I heard that line one time, man. I got inspired when I heard the line. I'm saying. I heard the line, man.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't no hustle. This is God's word. You understand what I'm saying?
This ain't no hustle. This is God's word.
Mm-hmm. My rhymes like they Mossbergs.
Man, you know, man. How that this ain't no hustle. This is God's words.
Word.
I can't even, man. I ain't heard that.
You good, man. You good. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, we in the building, man. It's after midnight. What's on? What Facebook be saying? What's on your mind? And shit. People crazy as fuck, it's just it's a question up there. They just be telling all their business and everything. What's on your mind? Wow. So what's on your mind, Chip Black?
Nobody gives a fuck. That's the truth. Nobody cares what's on your mind. Nobody cares what you're going through. Nobody cares about the subliminals you take at your boyfriend, at your ex, at your homies, at your homegirls. Nobody gives a fuck, man. That's what's on your mind. That's what people need to understand. So all of that, throwing that out, nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? They don't. You know what I mean? People going back and forth. Only people that care are like the vampires who they like the scumbag niggas, like your girl breaking up with you, and you know when your girl, like you know when the sister breaking up with somebody, right? Because all of they posts, all of they posts turn into like, yo, if a real man would know how to step up, you ain't gonna know what you got until you lose it. Like you gonna hear, like you're gonna see the whole timeline from her flooded with that type of shit. You know what I mean? All that, the warning shot, all type of warning shit. Like step your game up, because then you're gonna see all the, well, you want to act single, you're gonna see all the fake things. You know what I mean? I'm out doing me. You know what I mean? You want to see all that emphasis on doing me type of shit, right?
Yeah.
Then the real single shit come. Then the hateful asshole, You know what I mean? And, you know, the exposing niggas and shit, talking about how broke the nigga is and all of this type of shit. Then all of that shit come out. You know what I'm saying? But
How does that happen?
The whole time, though, what you gotta peep is this. You gotta peep the niggas who's liking those statuses. Not the females. The homegirls like everything you do that's some bullshit. Every time you know what I mean, hate them, everybody likes it. Back together, yeah, a few. You know what I'm saying? But the niggas that like the status, them the ones that end up in the DM. You know what I mean? The ones I wouldn't have treated you like that. He ain't know he had a queen. You know what I'm saying, yo? He did what? Yeah. Yeah, they used to call them niggas Jody. Nah, that nigga Raheem. That's his name in 2022. 22. I'm about to say 23. I'm so advanced, I'm throwing years on us.
That's it.
Yeah, man. But 2022, Raheem is in the inbox.
Raheem, he DMing? He inboxing?
He in there with all type of schlong pics and everything. Be careful. He's dangerous. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He getting all healthy with it, taking pictures, acting like, oh, and then talking slick in it. Yeah. So these, you know, so sisters got to be mindful of that. Don't fall for that shit. Because they just, and then the sisters want to get stupid. Like they don't know why all these men is coming. Nah, because you done threw yourself on a menu. And
they hand rubbing?
And then they become in that cycle next. Then the next post to be about you.
Oh man, or the next rhyme I write might be about you, son. They shook. They no such thing.
There I go.
Halfway.
Then the next post be right about you, man.
Scared them look.
The next post be smooth about your motherfucking ass.
So where is the devolution right there? How does it go from the virtual space? We ain't got to talk about the relationship space, the virtual space. What's the need for all of the visual shit, like us together, all the pictures and all that old nut shit, and then it goes from that shit to like what's that process look like virtually that you see?
Elaborate a little bit more. You're saying
happy couple shit, like, you know, the virtual presence, like the pictures and then the this to that and shit.
Because,
like
this is why. It's or I don't even know if you asked me why, but it's all based on reaction. It's all based on emotions and reaction. So immediately you're so emotionally, you know, your feelings and emotions are so, this is forever. This is my new thing now. That just like putting a tattoo of somebody's name on you. It's like the same type of thing, you know what I'm saying? So instead of putting someone tattoo, now you post the pictures of them on social media. Or even if you don't actually post the pictures, you just put it in the post and letting it be known. And I mean, you putting all that energy into the existence of this person and the fact that the permanentness of who this person is now. You understand what I'm saying? So then when you see the tide turning, it's almost, because here's the reality. When you get on social media and you start crying, when you start complaining and bitching, you're just crying for help. Like, if anybody who gets on social media and thinks that you're just venting, there's no reason to just vent on social media. You understand what I'm saying? When you get on there and start with your venting, all you're really doing is looking for some type of help with something. You need help somewhere, and you don't really know how to ask for it. So out of your frustration, you get on social media and announce, I got this fucking problem. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody can help me. You know what I mean? But so what happens is the situation starts to go south. Now there's the help call. You know, you're looking for the situation to rectify itself. Because the psychology of us is, you know, the propaganda is so strong that we believe in what we're seeing at that strong of a rate. So if let me try to reword this. Matter of fact, no, I'm saying it exactly the way I'm saying it. Seeing is fucking believing. You're projecting these images. Now that shit going south. You're hoping that you can fix the situation, just, using that same medium. Now you're starting to put your warning shots out. But while you're putting these warning shots out, what ultimately ends up happening is now these little creeps start to jump in and they come into the little picture. You're hoping that, hey, you see all of this attention I'm getting? No, it doesn't work like that. Because you're talking about the Matrix now. See, people seen the movie The Matrix, and I don't want to get all deep, metaphorical and all that, but understanding the one thing that the Matrix explained was the separation from the real world and the machine world. So when you go into that world, what people need to understand is this. Nothing is real. I don't give a fuck about how much you know that person. I don't give a fuck about how much you can say that the people that they're dealing with, none of that shit is actually real. Even though there may be real fingers behind this, real thought, real minds. What I mean by that is it's all an illusion. Yeah, the magician is a real person, but his whole fucking show that he puts up there is a fucking illusion. So all you're looking at is all these different fake ass magicians and their little magic shows, their illusions. You understand what I'm saying? So people are caught up in what's real and what's not real. But none of that shit is real. And that's what the Matrix represents. When the other night, I was in Connecticut. And I was out there with my man. Shout out to my man Spank. We was out there. It was with AZ. We was chilling. Shit was live. I met AZ in a couple of different spaces and capacity, been in the same space and place. But for the most part, he's somebody that I only know through the Matrix. I have to plug into the Matrix to experience any of his art. Whether it's his music, whether it's a music video, if he makes a movie and he's acting in it, doesn't matter. If it's an article written about him, I'm reading something that a machine printed up and I'm seeing a printed image from another machine. This is the machine world. This is what the fuck. So when we're in that machine world, understand that. I used to years ago explain like, yo, these aren't people. Don't look at them as people. They may be people behind it, but these are fucking avatars. So you're getting representations in avatars. And so when you use something like social media, there's nothing to me wrong with just putting up your highlights. Like some people say, oh man, you make life look so good. But just put up. What are you putting up? What are you trying to? It's a message. Your whole social media experience is a message you're putting out. So what message do you want to send? If you just want to send, yo, I live a life that I enjoy, you can leave it at that. Because it goes back to what I said earlier. Nobody cares about your problems. We love to hear that shit. Oh, don't get it wrong. We love to actually hear the shit. We don't give a fuck about it. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to do shit about it. We're not going to make it better. We're not going to give you a solution. We're going to hear you rant, vent, and all that. Go on your little tirade. And you know what we going to do? Yo, that's right. Fuck them. Yo, talk that shit, Blak. Yeah, fuck them niggas. My man, yeah, that's what we going to do. But ain't going to be no, yo, what's the problem? What's going on? You need help? Because that's what motherfuckers is asking for, right? Help. Shit, I did it. But you gotta realize if you've done that type of shit, you gotta really know your intentions. And when you do shit like, damn, yo, what was my intent? Why the fuck did I do this? And that's why I did it, man. I was fucked up right then and there. And I ain't know what to.
I'll be asking for help. 3K for 3K. That's as far as I go. That's as far as I go. That's it.
I'm not talking about present, bruh. So you just turned it into like I'm talking about right now.
No, I'm saying I'm identifying with you. You said you asked for help in the past on social media. I'm saying that this is the space that I can identify with that because I have a campaign, 3K for 3K campaign.
Copy.
That's it. Aside from this campaign, my message on social media is linked to this platform.
Yo, man, social media, the internet.
Yeah.
People act like the internet is evil or something, yo. People hate the internet. The internet is evil. Nah, man, it ain't the internet. It's the people in that motherfucker. It's the people running around using the motherfucker. The internet is great to me. Like the internet was like a great bridge and connection and, you know, way to share information and connect with people and all that. Like the internet provides a lot of shit as far as I'm concerned that could be great and useful. That if you take that off the table, this platform goes. We not having this conversation right now.
If that goes though, we can have that conversation in person.
If it goes, the conversation turns in person. But I'm not trying to put us in the position of this is a necessary medium. What I'm saying is that it's a convenient medium.
That's a fact. Yeah, if I didn't have this platform, I wouldn't be on social media. I tried it for like a little moment.
But listen to what you just said though. You said if you didn't have this platform, you wouldn't be on social media. If the internet didn't exist, there would be no social media. There would be no platform to have. There would be no Do the Knowledge radio because there would be no. I'm talking about the internet as a medium. Because people talk about the internet like the internet is the evil.
Right.
But to me, the internet is a resource. It's the people on that motherfucker that just make it crazy.
That's a fact. So that was one of my crazy ass questions for you because we started off there. So what's one of them? What's one? You answered it about the whole visual status and starting from this to that.
Okay.
Because you were there. So you got one. You got one for me.
I got one question for you. Yes, we're gonna keep it in this thing. We're gonna keep it in this realm right here. How important do you feel it is to have a presence on social media to do what you do for your platform? For example, to rephrase the question, how important is it for Knowledge Born to have an identity on social media outside of Do the Knowledge?
Outside of Do the Knowledge? If I'm presenting Knowledge Born as a professional, if I'm presenting Knowledge Born as a host, as an entrepreneur, it's critical. It's critical. If you have a product or a service, if you have a brand, that brand identity, that's the only reason for me to have. Like, you look at any other business, they have a digital footprint now. You can no longer just simply rely on, word of mouth and things like that. They're all good, but you have to have a digital and a physical component to your business, whether it's a small business or it's a large business. Right. So, looking at it in that space and what you're marketing, that's a thing. I'll have an additional step to say, if it's about your brand and your business, then keep it about your brand and your business. If you're upset, you have a bad day, and you feel like wilding out, don't go on social media.
Right.
You know, so if you have a product or a service, it's plenty of time. And I've seen some wild shit on social media. Because Dr. Dobbins, he asked me other question. He's like, because you don't get involved in none of that stuff that's going on. It's a bunch of, don't think I don't know or see what's going on. The detriment of what you just asked about knowledge born on social media or through the knowledge radio on social media, it's more important for what I built and established to be seen in the way that's built and established. It has more credence to me than if I'm upset about some wild shit I seen on the internet. So it bring it back into the realm of self-discipline and self-control and say, nah, I'm good. I'm just going to continue on doing what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? So that moment right there, don't cloud the mission. You see what I'm saying? The mission don't get tanked because we've seen a lot of people come and go based off of moments. But the mission is comprised of defining moments along the way. So, yeah, frustration, aggravation, agitation, all of those things are out there. However, just remembering, all it takes is one bad day. And then everything that I did previously and everybody that I did it for, it doesn't matter anymore. Because you don't get a second chance. You don't really get a first chance. But you definitely don't get a second chance in this space right here. How they see you is how they see you. So, yeah, nah.
Definitely, I think it's definitely important to have that in myself, to have that presence and have that. Even if, like you said, even if it's not necessarily like for example, if you even if it's your personal life, and I don't mean personal, but if it's a social media and you're out there and you're showing a glimpse of knowledge born, like you said, it's important not to have a bad day and decide to go out there, because even though you're showing knowledge born, there's certain things that you got to be mindful about when you're dealing with a brand, and you have to understand that does it reflect or represent the brand. Because even though knowledge born and the brand is synonymous, knowledge born having a bad day may not represent the brand. It just is what it is. Same with Shay Blak. I'll even say Shay Blak having a bad day does not represent the brand. I'll use me.
That's real. And then that lumps me in the category with those that are unalike, not A-alike. So for those that are A-alike, be alike, you know. But for those who are unalike, that's that process right there. And that's it. And then you never get a chance. There's no redeeming faculty. You know, that the part that you spoke about, the Matrix was real. You said, I thought it wasn't real. He said, your mind makes it real. He said, so if you die in the Matrix, then you die in real life. He's like, the body can't live without the mind. So you see some people with a weighty significance from an artificial space be levied and it affect or destroy them in real life. So that connection is still there. So that's another thing that I'm mindful of. And these people don't just come after you; they come after your loved ones and all that shit. They come after anything, anybody that's still connected. Like that same little conversation that Morpheus was having. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't
exactly. And they send agents,
right?
Agents more from every angle, every corner. The agent could be the fucking damn advertising you seeing.
Right.
The way the program is designed.
Right.
I thought about shit, looked at my phone like, come the fuck on. You can't be serious. I didn't even speak this fucking thought. I didn't even speak this thought yet. How are you letting me know? How the fuck do you know I'm looking for this electric head shaver? You know what I'm saying? I just thought about this motherfucking shit.
Right. What they call that, predictive marketing or something like that. It's a term they got for it.
I mean, it started off with conversations. Me and the homies have
Right.
conversations. Next thing you know, I'm on the phone like, hey, look at this shit. We were just talking about this. Then it became, wait a minute. We were just talking about this shit. Like it kept happening. Then it was, I just walked by some shit in the store. Wow, it's on my phone. Like I'm in, you know what I mean? I'm in the mall. I just walked by this stand and wow, what the fuck is this? What's going on here? Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what kind of chip did they put in my brain when I went to jail?
Subliminal seduction, man. It's out there. They out there.
What kind of waves are they catching, linking on to? Is my brain waves and these waves coming from these radio waves? Is there some type of actual connection where they're crossing the two?
They are you.
Good question.
Allah says be and it is. So
good question. Because we give them too much credit in cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When they tried to cross that threshold, they created viruses, people getting sick. And I'm talking about back in the 30s.
Right.
You have another question, brother?
Yeah, I'm cooking. I'm cooking in the chef kitchen.
Cooking in the chef kitchen.
That's it. So there's a story that you have in your head. A story that you have in your head that you want to share with the family. How do you get that story that you have in your head out in front of the people that you want to see it?
Visually?
However you see it. Like, so from this determined idea in your head that you got. You see what I'm saying? This determined idea has a story to itself. And now you looking to manifest that where people can see it. The people that you need to see it or want to see it. How do you do that?
Collective. I first, as the story's even coming, and maybe this is because I'm just mindful of what is outside of what can be done. I'm looking at resources. First thing I'm looking at is the material resources that's going to be needed before the cameras get there. Because the cameras is usually the last thing I'm worrying about because that's already there. So what you have to do is get all of the talent that you can get to actually to make it believable and bring it together. And with doing the talent, it's all based on now you gotta schedule, because you gotta look at the piece, that you gotta look at what you put on paper. Because whatever you thought, I'm already at the point that we put it on paper. So now you have to break down what you put on paper as far as how it's going to actually be put together. So you understand that you could get this group of people at this point in time, you can get this group of people at this point in time. So now you make your schedule according to that. What that means, we can film this scene because this person is here and this person is there. And wait a minute, we got this person who can also show up this day, and this person will be here. So we should shoot this scene as well this day. So we're gonna have to double up on scenes and try to get these scenes done like this, that, and things of that nature. So you create that part. That's when you know that you got something that you're gonna be able to put together. You start putting together your talent, however you put that together, and that depends on how big it's gonna be on the scale of how much talent I need. Now, this is if I'm just strictly telling a story that I'm coming up in my brain with, and I want to put it together visually. and I want to use live talent. Because I actually just skipped the whole process of I can decide which way to tell the story. I can go live talent, I can do somewhat of an animation, or I can do like a pictorial essay type situation, which is what you get with the How the Earth Became Civilized. Those are pictorial essays, they're pictures and a story being told. And even without the narration, it's a story being told according to the pictures itself and the way the pictures are lined up. That right there is a way to tell a story, like I said, which makes it a pictorial essay. And like I said, animate it or go live. I gave you the example of me giving you the pictorial essay, and live will be, like I said, you get the actors together, you put together the talent actually, because you might not even be using actual actors, but you get the talent, you get the scheduling. But the important thing is having people. You can do it by yourself. And I'm only saying that for people who can't, like, every time you turn the corner, nobody wants to help you. Just do it on your own then. But it is important to, when you do have people, everybody plays their part. Everybody is playing the part that they're supposed to play. They're doing their position. That is very important. You have to, I can't stress that the most. Two people don't need to be playing the same role. Just like in front of the camera, you don't have two leads, you don't have two supporters, or you have maybe supporting, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? You don't have two people playing the same role unless you're playing them in different time periods. So, that's basically, when it comes to putting it together, that's my thought process of trying to put it together or putting it together. As far as the message, that's a whole nother story. Like, as far as what's the content, like, there's always certain themes. There's always going to be a certain message that's put in the thing. And it's not to be encrypted. It's not to be hard to read. It's always going to be plain and simple right then and there. If you miss it, it's because you're looking past it.
Some serious jewels. I saw some movies while you was talking about it. I saw some movies, especially with not having two leads in the same scene unless they're in different time frames. It seemed like some movies flashed across my mind like boom, boom, boom. That's how they was able. Yeah. I'm looking at Heat. You remember Heat?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Godfather 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking like, damn, like I'm looking at, I'm thinking of a couple movies, but those is just two, why they doing this like they doing it for these particular scenes. So it's like, I was going Batman crazy during the Batman trilogy. You see the introduction of the character in the particular scene by themselves, like, oh my, so this is how this story unfolds. You see what I'm saying? This is how this story unfolds. Like Bane's entrance, Inchidako or Killmonger's entrance, the Joker's entrance. You see what I'm saying? Like the first time you see Lex Luthor or whoever, whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like they're showing you this, and then when you talk about the message, I'm thinking about, okay, there are other underlying parts in the message, so character development. You know what I'm saying? So when you're looking at character development, like how much do you know about the character? And then I remember like Menace to Society, this is what Tupac was looking at for the table read. He was trying to get some of that character development to be Sharif. You know what I mean? Like, so he was trying to get some background information in regards to that. So in a situation, not necessarily in a situation like that, or just character development in general, you know, how much is too much versus how much is too little in regards to developing character. I know I asked you a question. You were supposed to ask me a question, but I don't want to
but
leave
go
that
ahead, though.
part
That's
right
not
there.
what it's about, though, man.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
wonder.
what it's about. Because when we're talking cinematics and we're talking film, there's so much that's so rich. That's such a rich field we could talk about. Just even talking about what you're really looking at when you're looking at a film, what's being projected, what's the purpose. There's a purpose behind all of this. There's a whole theme, and that is so fucking important to understand that. To understand there's a reason why you don't see the black man and black woman in a positive, healthy relationship on TV. And there's a reason why the healthiest, what you would consider is the healthiest ideal relationships from a emotional standpoint, you know, is not the black man and black woman. So the black man does not become the desirable, and the black woman, what reality TV show that is directed for black women, that is featuring black women, that makes black women seem desirable? And I'm not saying black women are not desirable. What I'm saying is, which is the show? If I turn on one of these Love and Hip Hop, wherever they at, if I turn on one of these, the one with the tattoo shit, whatever, where's the ones that make black women seem like, damn, that's what I want to settle down with. That's somebody who's gonna hold me down, who's gonna be Claire. Remember what we talked about before with Claire? Claire was essential. Claire was, if you watch something like The Cosby Show, I didn't care what background you came from. I don't even care, honestly, what race you were. If you watched The Cosby Show and didn't feel like you wanted to be a part of that family in some type of dynamic, if you wasn't a boy and was like, yo, I want to be a son in that family, like to have a dad like that and have my mom and my, if you wasn't the dad and was like, yo, have my wife and kids, like that's something you strived for, to be a father like that. We could get into whatever we want to break down on Bill Cosby or the Cosby Show, but there was a serious theme that Bill Cosby made sure that resonated in that show. And one of those themes was the importance of his wife and how she made sure he ate right. Remember, that was one of the things, like, he couldn't eat the bullshit with her. She was, it was so important. And he was the doctor, even though he, was a obstetrician. He was the doctor, though. But she was the one making sure that he ate and, wasn't having no stroke and dying on their ass, because he was necessary. His health was necessary. You see this shit now, there's no type of promotion of a Claire at all. Instead, what they did was they turned what we know as Claire into Peg Bundy, the black version of Peg Bundy. So when we're looking at all of these different reality shows, remember Peg Bundy with the tacky ass hair and the fucking tacky ass tights and all of that, and walking around with the makeup on. We was looking at it like, we look at this and say, y'all imitating drag queens. We didn't know, they imitating Peg Bundy. Don't want to do nothing but be Peg Bundy. But I guess I gotta hit you with another question. It's my turn with a full question, right? That's how we doing this.
Yeah, so I was saying, and then tying it back into character development, because that, like, how much is too much and how much is too little. Just even looking at the Peg Bundy example, you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So for in that space, because she's the archetype that comes from Alice Cramden. You see what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
And then Edith Bunker. You see what I'm saying? So they did that, and then they was, you would see like a Weezy Jefferson trying to spin off of that same little instance. You see what I'm saying? And she was on my day, so they introduced different kind of all in the family, and then Florida Evans over there on my day, like they put these things together, and then when we seen them again, we saw something else. Because you look at the Jeffersons, you look at Sanford and Son, all of these,
And then Martin proceeded to carry
right,
on that tradition
right, right.
where it was
So
us against the woman.
right, the character development type situation where in a point like that, like, because I know you got to have conflict in every story. So in regards to that, when you're looking at character development, how much is too much versus how much is too little.
Mm. Understanding that unless we're developing these characters, period, these characters they're already characters that they created that we're just playing. It doesn't matter who's who's doing it. If it's a Hollywood produced movie, 95%, 95% of the films that are produced out of Hollywood, because something do slip through. It just doesn't. It's just not big hits. But 95% of what we see in Hollywood is basically characters designed to get us to imitate, or to get us, and on top of to get us to imitate, get others to believe that's who we are. Those are the two purposes of these characters. So if my daughter's watching Love and Hip Hop, she's looking at these girls and she's looking at these women and thinking, okay, this is something to imitate, because that's what these images do. People don't understand the importance of these images. The first thing Hitler did was took over the TVs and the radio program. I should, I should say the propaganda, not even, because I don't even know if the TV was relevant, but it was radios and posters and all that type of shit. Like, the propaganda machine is great. Like, the shit that we believe about shit that we've never seen or been around, because that was the second thing that it was about. It's about shaping the image to other people about who someone is. So I can create an image of you, and the rest of the world sees this image, and now they believe that's who you are. So now you can sit there and be like, it doesn't matter. I'm a grown adult. I'm mature enough to sit down and just be entertained. But you have a whole world of people who don't know who you are by sitting down, being next to you. But they get this image of who you are on TV, and it's you portraying this image. So it's completely validated and authenticated, like that's who you are, because now they see you doing it. See, when you had the black face on, it still could have been a white boy underneath that shit. But now when you up there playing that role that the white boy played with the black face, doing the exact same shit that he taught you how to do to get on that stage. Well, now we believe that when the white boy was acting like that, we think he deserves an Oscar now. You know what I mean? Now we think the white boy really got you down pat because damn, that's who the fuck you really are. When all you doing is your best to imitate him. And understanding that this is how they shape the world to us of Africa, of Europe, of history. And we can play the game that we want that is not true, but so many places and spaces we've never seen. But if you talked about it or threw an image or asked us about it, we would speak on it just based off what we've seen through the matrix. Completely through the matrix. Because that's our only experience. Remember the Lawnmower Man?
Oh, yeah.
Remember how it just seemed like that was the coolest shit to be able to go into that world and all that? We didn't even realize that we were already doing that shit.
Right.
We were too stuck on having those glasses and having this polygon, octagonic, graphic type effect shit going on to realize that we was plugging in, doing that same shit already. That's why you see things like the metaverse. Mm-hmm. That shit ain't new. That's right. Just getting you to put a name on it and sign off on it and say, okay, that's what we here for. But you already was there. You're already a resident, taking up space.
Damn, the Lawnmower Man. That's the Lawnmower Man. And then the Running Man flashed in the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You going from like this to that. Yeah, you start thinking.
Yeah. Now remember, what was I gonna say to you? Oh, I was gonna ask you a question. Shit. What film, not what's your favorite film, but what film, and maybe it's the same film, had the most profound effect on you? Whether you later on realized there was some bullshit or it was something for the good. But what film had the most profound effect from the imagery of what you seen to what you took back with you?
I got a couple. The Wiz is one. Not The Wizard of Oz. The Wiz. The Wiz is one.
I heard you. I heard you clearly.
Yeah, I had to say that, for the record. The Wiz is one of them. The Last Dragon is another one. And Unbreakable is another one. And Antoine Fisher is another one. So Unbreakable, Antoine Fisher, The Wiz, and The Last Dragon. That's 4. And if I could have one more, I would say what's the last one? The last one would be Sugar Hill. Panther had moments, not the Black Panther, the movie Panther that came out in 95. Panther had moments that had a profound effect on these particular aspects. But when we start looking at movies for different reasons, there's a whole connection to The Wiz. There's a whole connection to The Last Dragon for me. Like there's
So in real time, because really this is a real time question. These movies had these effects in real time with you?
definitely still to now. From their time, from then to now. And I would say another honorable mention is Ghost Dog. Ghost Dog was another one.
Ghost Dog, interesting.
Because these are movies that had me be introspective, very introspective in regards to that. And then over the years, drawing different experiences from aspects. They weren't great movies. The Wiz
Right.
wasn't a great movie. The Last Dragon was not a great movie. But
Right.
it was.
Well, I mean, the question definitely wasn't even based on whether they was great or not. It was really based on, like I said, that the effect that it had.
Yeah, the effect for me, the effect for me was, they were interesting. I could just give a few examples from each movie.
Right.
The movie The Wiz is good, and then the movie The Wiz gets greater when I do a comparative analysis between that and The Wizard of Oz. There's certain things that we think about in this country, and we hear people go back and forth about disparity and poverty and things like that. Diana Ross's character did not have a house. She didn't have her own house. They was in the brownstone. You know what I'm saying? They was in the brownstone. Dorothy couldn't even, if that was a dream in her mind, she couldn't even be in the dream in her mind without her being in her house. Diana Ross's character was taken away in the whirlwind. She was taken up in her house, and her house landed on the witch, and that's how she killed the witch. When you look at, some of those aspects, because I'm not gonna, because that's a whole thing, but when you look at some of those aspects in regards to disparity, they're showing you that you're not the same as these people right here. That's a profound effect. Your experiences are not the same, all of that. You in the Wiz and you still can't get a cab. This is your imagination. You still can't get a cab. You understand what I'm saying? Like you're there, like a brother sold you out. You understand what I'm saying? Like the sister, she was speaking mathematics. You see what I'm saying? Like, and then, it wasn't munchkins. It was little black children that the state wasn't allowed to play in the parks. You see what I'm saying? Like, these are aspects of our reality. So even in our imagination, these things are still real. You can't have a fantasy type of situation
without those experiences.
You still have to have this reality. This black dude, he's a scarecrow. He's on the cross. The crows are supposed to be afraid of him. The crows is not even afraid of him. They got him crucified. They're torturing him. And he thinks that they can help him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these are aspects that I looked at that I recognized ever since I was a child. So even looking at the Wiz from the 70s to now, I'm still looking at it like, damn, this is crazy. So that's just a couple examples for that. And The Last Dragon was one of the first times that we saw how easy it is to manipulate how you see yourself. Again, you in the space of where you're looking at and who you're looking to for validation. So he thought that he had to adopt an ancient Chinese philosophy or Oriental or Asian philosophy to be enlightened.
Right.
And
looking for the master.
Right. And he's the master he's been looking for. So he could accept that kind of scrutiny from his teacher, but he couldn't accept that kind of scrutiny from his brother or his love interest. So that is one of the rare times where you saw what Asian people thought about black people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
they had the Asian look. The crate. This is one scene, and I'm gonna just leave that. There's one scene where he goes up there and asks the Asian dude. He said, "I'm looking for the master." The black dude with the Asian looking clothes on is going up to the Asian with the Soul Brothers clothes on. They rapping. You understand what I'm saying? They're out here doing this shit.
They showing
Right.
him who
Right.
he is to them.
Who he is today, right, and who he is to them.
That's what I mean. Showing them who he is to them. That's what I said.
So he's going to them. They watching Bruce Lee movies. Like the movie theater is packed with the Bruce Lee movie. Sure enough, and the crew coming in and they whooping motherfuckers' ass in real life, not on the screen. You see what I'm saying? And that's not enough. That becomes the nemesis. So he walks up to him. He said, "I'm looking for the master." He said, "Ain't no masters here. Ain't no slaves either." He said, "Ain't." This fat, round Asian dude, he said, "Ain't no masters here. Ain't no slaves either." So I'm just looking at the scene like, yeah. So that's the instance. And there's other instances, but this is the instance where you see this cultural appropriation that we see nowadays. That's a great light that's there, that's shined on. And at the end of the movie, the little brother checked the whiteboard. He said, check out the cornball. He ain't no cornball. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
He's my brother and he's the master. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so with the end part, like, I think that was one of the most significant parts of the movie. You see what I'm saying? Because the little brother was a grown man in the little boy body. You understand what I'm saying? Because the little white boy was doing what he thought was cool to be with them. So he was talking crazy about his brother before until he realized who his brother is. Because that's who he is. You see what I'm saying? So he's like, nah, he ain't no cornball. He's my brother and he's the master. You see what I'm saying? So boom, now that's what that is. So I think that was, kind of pivotal. And then when you look at a movie, for instance, like Unbreakable, and looking at Unbreakable and Antoine Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
These
Shout
are
out to
all
my man Bomani too, man. He was just Shogun of Brooklyn.
Yeah, he the Shogun of the universe right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the homie. But go ahead, I ain't in the.
No, you good.
We talking about Shogun, just Brooklyn. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sure enough was my hero. You know what I'm saying? They was rooting for Bruce Lee. I wanted Show enough to just beat his ass because he was a different dude.
The niggas had to kiss his Converse, B.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Gangster, yo. And his glow, and he had that red glow with him.
And he wasn't.
Oh shit. He had the red glow.
He showed it from Jump Street. Glow. He showed it from Jump Street. Like there's no. My man said any 50. He didn't say 1, 2, 3, whoever. He said any 50 of you who want me to sit down and shut up, come down here and make me.
Yeah.
You seen his crew? His crew was right there. Nobody was like, yo, I don't think this is a good idea. Everybody was ready to bang. And he was the first one to bang. He's like, nah, I got him. He's mine. You understand what I'm saying? So literally, this is how he get down. You see him he doing MMA, all kind of shit. You understand what I'm saying? Like he MMA and all kind of shit. And he saying, he had the football hats on, all kind of shit. Like it was nuts, yo. And then when the devil came to him with the money, he said, "Keep your money. Keep your money."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
he's there as a point for the higher purpose. You see what I mean? So he's responsible for him truly becoming a master. See what I'm saying? So either he was going to be a master or he was going to be a slave. He was a slave until he freed himself. You know what I'm saying? So, boom, he was the master. But he had to beat a master to be a master.
Facts.
So,
Facts.
yeah. And what I was going to say just real quick about the Antoine Fisher film and the Unbreakable film, what the brother Antoine Fisher and what Elijah Price, their development in regards to this is the one of them rare occasions where you see a black man who's thinking his existence was a mistake in both aspects. Antoine Fisher not having his family, not knowing who his real family was, and the ones who was his surrogates that was responsible for him was abusing him and destroying him. You see what I'm saying? So if you look at Elijah Price and Unbreakable, he didn't have a father. His father wasn't even mentioned, and nobody ever even mentioned it. He didn't have a father. The scene comes in with him being born with his arms and his legs broken from birth. And his mother in the department store, in the changing room, having the baby. The only black man that he had ever seen was the dude that played Kareem Saeed in Oz. And the fact that it was so natural, nobody even asked, what about his father? Where's his father? There's no inquiry. So, like M. Night Shyamalan is saying, no matter what these odds are, he's born with his arms and his legs and broken, and he had all these breaks in his life. Nothing stopped him from reaching his goal. Nothing. And you don't know what his goal is. You don't know what's in the master's mind until the end of the movie.
Right.
So he creates the hero and the villain. He's the mastermind. He's not the hero or the villain. He's Yakub. He's Yakub. You see what I'm saying? So he makes them through this grafting process. So it was ill to see that, and I'm like, yeah, that was an ill perspective for me to see that, and then where Antoine Fisher with the Denzel Washington, piece at the end, he makes Denzel Washington a better man. You see what I'm saying? From his situation, overcoming this, trial and tribulation, he makes him a better man. He thought he was coming to him for help, and it's intertwined. So he helps him, and he helps him. So he got a renewal for life, a renewal for family. You see what I'm saying? Like all of that. So seeing that together, these are all, different aspects in regards to, that ability to see indiscriminate to a circumstance and situation, that need for that resurrection, that need for that ascension back into something or someone divine. Now you could come back into the fold of your family. He said, at the end of Unbreakable, he said, now is the time where we shake hands. So he sees the hotel fire, he sees the plane, and he sees the train that he was on. And I'm responsible for the shit. You understand what I'm saying? I love that shit. I was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So
just to find out who your ass was.
Just to find out who your ass was. You. My open enemy. You know what I mean? So, yeah. those was my examples. And then, Panther, just for a couple of scenes. A couple of scenes in Panther, one was the
Simba.
right. Lion, Wambasa. Emoji Brothers. Reading sees the time in figuring out what it looked like in my head. He's telling the story.
Right.
So Panther is an accurate depiction visually of what happened in those couple of instances.
Right.
Because you reading it, you charged up, but then you see it. So it adds a whole nother element to it. This is why this component is necessary. You know what I'm saying? Did they gonna change their name? I don't know. Let's go find out. They bust that U-turn. Run up on them. Beat their ass and say you're gonna change your fucking name. You understand what I'm saying? Like real shit, like that, and the propaganda element of how the word spread. A showdown with the pigs, right there. You see what I'm saying?
The brother was quoting all type of shit.
Yeah, like and the niggas was scared of shit. You understand? Like, so you charged up. If people don't remember anything from certain movies, that's the thing that they remember, just like they remember the whole shit with the hospital and the police station in the X movie. You know what I mean? Like that. These are propaganda tool moments of high regard. So you see cats they wanted to pull out leather jackets in the summertime because Panther, they had the scene with the cats start studying in the law. People was reading law books and they was like, all this stuff they start talking about now with know your rights and all that. Like, nah, it was a catalyst that pushed people towards this, kind of situation. And, many of us joined the ranks of the new Black Panther Party in that same way. You know what I mean? So it was just interesting. Those are, a couple of films that I was talking about in regards to that kind of impact, because you can always go to different instances from when you've seen them to now to draw from. So, the story is what's important.
I know I asked you the question, but it was two movies for me. One was Shaka Zulu, and the second was Mississippi Burning. Those movies shaped so much in my young mind of a reality that was not fucking real. I watched Shaka Zulu. I thought that shit was, I said, yo, like, in a way, I'm going to be honest with you. This is what it did. It didn't make me feel like it, but I feel like this is what the agenda was. I'm glad my ass got kidnapped by these crackers and brought to America. I'm glad my black ass is in fucking New Jersey right now. And there was other movies that came behind, because Shaka Zulu wasn't taking place in today's day and time, but there was other movies that they made to be current or present that further had me like, hell yeah. But that was the movie that just created this image that validated anything else that I seen before or after that. Dealing with Africa on some Popeye fighting the savages. You know what I'm saying? Great Kamala in wrestling. You understand? Like, it just validated all that shit. Now, Mississippi Burning, what that movie did was it scared the shit out of me pertaining to white terror, and gave me this belief that it didn't matter how many black people there were. They were scared. Like in the South, it was a no-win situation dealing with white folks. It just put this belief that there was no hope there was nothing. Now, I understand the reality. I understand the actual white terror that took place. Like, I do understand that shit happened. But what I'm saying is, I remember in my mind just thinking, damn, yo, why these people ain't just all move to Chicago? Why they just all get up and go to Harlem? You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember watching that shit as a kid, like, being like, yo, these are the dumbest niggas ever. Like, and then just, like, these white folks just, I remember being in Florida, down south, like, in, like, the country, though. Like, I wasn't in, like, Orlando, you know, in the city. I was in this place called D-Land. And it was like the road was damn near, like, it was paved maybe a year before I went out there to visit. Like, that's how, and it was all 1-2 steps and I'm on the other side of the street. All woods and shit. I remember being out there looking out the window every night thinking I was about to see a motherfucking troop of Klansmen marching with fucking burning torches and a cross and shit. Like, every night I looked out the window and swore that's what I was going to see. So I didn't even want to be that long, but those 2 movies. Now, of course, later on, I mean, there's movies that the same impact, like there's movies that I had a whole nother feeling about and it just in a way different way. But as far as like when I seen it, I believed it. Like I believed those 2 movies. And the because I believed them, it had a big effect on how I seen shit. Until I seen it for myself or I was, you know, unlearned what I thought. But go ahead, because you had a question. I didn't even mean to go all that long.
No. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Shaka Zulu, on the other hand, for me was like some other, like a whole nother awakening vibe for me. Like
that happened years later, but
when I was young watching it, I was on it. I had to stop breathing through my mouth. You understand what I'm saying?
I didn't see what you seen though, man. I seen a bunch of naked niggas running around. No disrespect. I seen a bunch of naked niggas running around on some crazy shit. I seen these white folks come into their hood. You know what I mean? All clean cut. You know what I mean? Dapper and shit. You know what I'm saying? Make deals with Shaka. Pretty much let them know, yo, man, you need to get down with our program because the shit you on, yo, is not fucking with us. You know what I mean? Brought some of his people to their hood. They laughed at them niggas like, you can't be serious. Sent them back down. You know what I mean? Shaka ended up trying to be like them and impress them. Ultimately, started killing his own people, wilding out, and then got betrayed. I was happy he died the first time I watched Shaka. I was like, hell yeah, man. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to disrespect, and I'm not going there. I'm going off of the images, the propaganda. Yeah. When I seen that movie, I was like, word, yo, like, this dude was wilding, yo. You know what I mean? Now, when I seen it as a teenager, because you got to remember, that movie, that shit was a big, like, I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was 10, 9. When I was in that witch doctor shit, man, that shit had me all the way shook. But when I seen it, I ain't gonna lie, that shit had me shook. But when I was like 17, 18 watching that shit, it was a whole different story though. Cause I had a whole different, but I never liked the whole white folks part though. That shit never sat right with me. Like he ain't go to war and beef with no white folks in that movie.
Right. Yeah, it's told from the conqueror's eyes.
Absolutely. Rest in peace to the actor too.
Yeah, Henry Silly, he could never be nobody else. We was talking about that earlier with Rock.
Last time I seen him, he got ate by a lion. Last time I seen him, he was getting eaten by a lion in the darkness, Ghost in the Darkness. And it was fucked up because it was one of them times where you ain't seen somebody in a while. You know what I mean? You know when you ain't seen somebody, you like, yo, that's Shaka Zulu. Like, oh shit. Like, I see him in the shit. I'm like, oh shit, that's Shaka Zulu. 5 minutes later, like, God damn, Shaka, you signed up for this shit. They still mad at you. You know what I mean? Look, 5 minutes later, they done put you in a movie just to get your ass ripped by a lion. You couldn't have one scene where you couldn't at least rip 2 of the lions before you got ripped. Like this Shaka Zulu, okay, we could get it. You not the hero, you gotta have, but it couldn't be. You just got ripped, homeboy. Like you ain't had, like you wasn't even Shaka. Like your spirit work was nothing, non-void.
Right.
Yeah, I ain't like that.
They did that. They did it even dirtier with the whole slavery joint. Remember? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when they did the remix, that was crazy as fuck.
Oh, no, the remix was insane.
Yeah.
With the magic powers and all that.
Yeah.
I turned that shit off. I couldn't even finish disrespecting myself, man. The best thing about Shaka when I was a kid was Nandy, yo.
Nandy wasn't no joke, yo. 100.
Nandy was serious, yo. Nandy was the epitome. Nandy was like, whew.
Yeah, that was crazy. The fighting method and the making of the spear, the short spear.
Phase 1.
Yeah, the shit he put the motherfuckers through. That shit was get down and lay down. That yo, 100. Like
I was the original get down and lay down.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I'm looking at the fighting method. Yo, my man sleeping, he threw water on him. Yo, he had the motherfuckers running up mountains and carrying each other, all that shit. There was you see nothing like it visually. You see what I'm saying? Like there's always stories about it, but visually to see.
What made it so hard though? I'll give you this. What made it so hard was that where they was actually fighting, how he was in the middle of them fighting. Right. Like he was in the mix.
And like, when he was training them, he's in front of everybody. He's not behind people.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he talking to people. They running. They about to die. He talking to them. He's like, if swollen feet is too much a price to pay for glory, leave now. He said, otherwise, run. And he hauled ass in the front. I was like, yo, you had the motherfuckers picking up stones and shit, going back through the joint, through the water. Animal, like visually seeing it. You see what I'm saying? And then when he see it all those type of visuals together,
though, so we can inspire that. Because we still got that in us. And we need that to be inspired back out of us. Because right now, we still talking about that type of shit. But we had and when we do got motherfuckers that walk like that, we don't get behind those people, man. Right. Not the way we should. We don't make their name live forever like it should. Mm-hmm. I was just locked up with people who they meant that they had that mentality.
Right. We still got people out here right now. And that's the apprehension. That's the apprehension. The apprehension is it worth it? You know what I mean? Is it worth it?
If you about what you say, it's worth it.
No,
it's about what you say, you don't give a fuck, yo.
Right.
You want to get technical. Like, if it's really about what you say, like, if you talking all that
seen it, but we've seen it over the years. We've seen it over the years in the inverse. We've seen the neglect. We've seen the disrespect. We see the everything. We got political prisoners. You know what I mean? Like all of that. Like, they like, who's that? You know what I mean? Like, they're like, who is that? And they encircled. I'm just thinking, like, one day as Dub in Africa, one day as Mumia Abu Jamal, and I'm in solitary confinement. I've been in solitary confinement every day for 30 fucking years. And that little slot a day, like, right, what I'm saying to you, Che, the slot, the little slot where they slide your food in, I come to you every day and say, where's those niggas that you said you would? You understand what I'm saying? Like, where's those niggas? You know, like, where are those niggas that you in here for? You know what I mean? Like, the guard come and tell me that shit every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't doing none of that. What you was doing. Look at what they doing. The psychological shit where you in there, you get beat, you get tortured, you identified as this. This is why George Jackson is so important, because he showed what happened when you change. When they looked at him like a criminal, it didn't matter. It's a revolving door. But when you are identified as a revolutionary, he got different treatment.
He never came home.
Never came home. 1 year to life, he had a death sentence. And if he was gonna come home, he'd come home in a box. You know what I mean? So when we start looking at it, that's just a question. I know the answer, but I'm saying that that's a question. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to you? Is it worth what come along with it? All that shit. Like, is it worth it?
I'm gonna be honest with you. People might not really feel what I'm saying, but in order to be a Malcolm X, in order to be a George Jackson, a Jonathan Jackson, you know, a Huey P. Newton, there's a level of ruthlessness that a lot of these niggas, they too humble, they too peace, queen, peace, brother. There's a level of ruthlessness that they don't have in their spirit, in their soul, to go out and make that type of shit happen. When I say, I didn't say that they're ruthless. I said there's a level of ruthlessness. And what I mean by that is you have to look at everything you looking past for that goal. You have to look, all that luxury shit, you have to even understand that, man, your own loved ones is going to have to feel this sometimes. That's just part of what it is, being your loved one, yo. Ain't no completely, you can't protect your babies from this world when you are who you are. That's not, you just don't have no babies then. Just don't have no baby, because that's not possible. I mean, you can protect them. I'm not saying you can't provide protection. I want to make that clear. What I'm saying is that you can't always be there, and you can't provide the protection. Like, you can't shield them from this world. And like, a lot of times, brothers is just unrealistic with this shit, man. That's why we don't have that. Because you're talking about men who, they didn't just go to jail. Like, all right, that's one part. They didn't just do some shit that'll put you in jail forever in 5 days. You talking about men who went to jail and then stood tall on what they went to jail and told these devils, fuck you, SMD, and then forever in 5 days. So you gotta understand, like, a lot of people don't, like, that's two different levels. That's the level of you're bold enough to commit the act, but you're also strong enough to stand on it. 30 fucking years, bruh. I remember going up to visit the brother Bashir, and rest in peace, up in Clinton. At the time, it was 1994. I was 14. 16, my bad. I was 16. He been locked up since 1981. I was like 3. You understand what I'm saying? I was 16. That means out of the 16 years I was locked up, he was locked up 13 of them at that time. Now, I remember the conversation my pops was having before we got there with some of his peoples was that he was just getting in the population. Like, I didn't even know what none of that meant. They like, yeah, he just got in the gym pop. Matter of fact, you know what? Was it 94? Nah, I'm lying. I was 14 because this shit was like 92. But my whole point is he ended up, passing away in jail in, like 30 years. when everything was said and done. And I remember seeing him, and he was talking, and it was just like, "What's the fuck I do, yo?" Like, that was really the attitude. I'm not trying to downplay it or none of that, but it wasn't none of that. Yo, man, I'm in here, and I wish I would have did this different, and it was none of that. It was, man, we gotta still get him hell while we even in here, yo. Like, just because we in here don't mean we stop fighting. We fighting in here, yo. Why you think I'm just getting the population? Because I'm not here talking that bullshit. Like, it's a different spirit with the gorillas, man. Resistance is resistance everywhere. What fuck you say? Sweep what floor, man? Fuck you, boss. You ain't no boss. You know what I'm saying? Resistance, you're a rebel everywhere with it. You can't even turn that shit off. Go get a job. Fuck me. I can't. I know how to. I can't maintain that shit. Do what, man? Fuck you. Who are you? Because they like to talk to you slick. They like to play with your head. They like to play with your pride. I'm not one for that, man. I'm still here lounging, doing what the fuck I want. Did you have another question, though? I know you've been on for a minute.
Yeah, was it my question or yours? I don't even remember.
It was your question this time to ask me. Right. I know you're going to wrap it up soon. We've been on here for a minute. We don't want to give him too much.
Right.
But go ahead, though. You had another question for the God?
Always got a question.
Go ahead, shoot.
Always got a question.
Now you look like you got something going on. You look like you plotting on something.
Yeah, it was a couple of different questions that came in my head, but I just wanted to see which one where I wanted to go with it. You know what I mean? So, all right. So back to story, because all of that is story. Everything is story, but it's not storytelling like fictional, but it's stories that need to be told. What's a story that either wasn't told right or a story that ain't never been told that you think need to be told?
Shit. I can't think of one of them that was really told right. The Panther one was a great, probably one of the best examples, especially being that they were able to sell it from this comes from a fictional novel based on true events, which to me made it even doper because like they really put some real shit in it though. Like you understand what I'm saying? Like they sold it like that only to be able to get crazy with it. But as crazy as they got, no, it was real. Like that movie was clear cut. The pigs was up there dealing with selling dope, and you know what I mean? They had the mob in there with the FBI. Like if they just said, "Oh, this is really what happened," they would have had problems doing that shit. But they say, "Nah, this came from a novel. This ain't really, you know, we saying this is a story." But anyway, you said back. What was you saying about the story again? You asked me.
Yeah, either a story that wasn't told right,
or a story that wasn't told.
Either or, like, yeah, which story? You see what I'm saying? Like, so if it was the Panthers, then what about the story? You see what I'm saying? Or there's a story out there? What, a story that's not out there that you want to be told?
If there was a story that could be told that's never been told, it would probably be about Colonel Williams and what was going on during the when Ethiopia was invaded by Italy, and how black folks was actually signing up to go and fight the war efforts with the Ethiopian brothers and sisters, because they felt that connection back in the 30s, that closeness to Africa, which is ironic right now, because a lot of people are claiming that back at that time there was no connection with Africa, and we were later on in like the 50s and 60s, and the school systems taught that we were from Africa. However, in the actual 30s, our family had connections so much to Africa that when the African nation was invaded, they enlisted in large numbers to go help defend this nation. And part of that story is not just about how Colonel Williams became such an escort that he became Haile Selassie's personal escort. When he flew from place to place, he personally escorted his plane, an American soldier who went over there to help them fight their war efforts, and became a war hero, won all type of medals over there and shit, fighting in their war. But also, though, part of that story is how the U.S. government began denying visas and not allowing the black citizens to go over there and fight in this war. And on top of them doing this, on top of them not, starting to deny black folks the help, they started encouraging Italian Americans or Americans with Italian, lineage, ancestry, to help the Italian invaders, which was Mussolini's army at that particular time.
Goddamn,
so I think all in a whole, that's a crazy story, because there's so many things that's tied into that happened at a time that it's like that part of the story, why we don't even know about that. Because ultimately, that's one of the things that led to Hitler turning his back on Mussolini, was what happened with him in Africa. Being as that they were able to turn back the Italians, and the embarrassment of, what happened ultimately led to Hitler deciding that Mussolini couldn't be a part of his club no more. But you don't even hear about that at all. So that would definitely be the story that I think needs to be told, that has never been told. There's a lot of stories that have never been told that I would love to tell. I even have stories personally that I would just like to tell, just dealing with different people, historical figures. And there's a ton of shit I would love to get right if I could, personally. I would love to get Malcolm X right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to be able to get that right, because there's too many people who watch Malcolm X as a movie and never read the book, regardless of if you have an issue with even the book, because I can respect you having an issue with Alex Haley and his book. But my point being is that there's people who never even read the book or seen a documentary outside of the movie to even cross-reference the movie. You know what I'm saying? There's people who never even studied anything of Malcolm X outside of knowing that there's a Malcolm X movie with Denzel Washington, to the point where they believe that shit, to the point where they, first of all, you can't make a movie on Malcolm X and not have Farrakhan in it. You understand what I'm saying? I understand the political play they was trying to make, but his character, just at that particular time, might not have been a big decision-making character, but was an integral part, especially knowing how things unfolded later. him going to Mecca, him going to Africa, the fact that people believe that his first time to Mecca was right before he got killed, basically. Like he was in Africa in the 50s. He went to Mecca already. He didn't make the Hajj pilgrimage, but he been to Mecca. He knew it was already over there. He been to Africa. Even when they showed him go to Mecca, they made it like he just went to Egypt and then went over to Mecca, then came back home as a Sunni on a Salafi Salaf, and that was that. And then he got killed by his brothers, who he turned on. Like that's how they made it seem. But it's like they don't talk about the statesman that Malcolm was. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, instead of wasting money and energy on him getting fed by the white girl and with his head in the toilet bowl, you know, we could have showed some of that. You know what I mean? Instead of having this elaborate dance scenes and all of that, we could have focused on him in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Instead of spending, what was it, like between $2.5 to $5 million, some crazy number that one scene alone cost. They could have been in Africa showing the statesman that Malcolm was. So I don't even want to go on. I could be here for the next 3 days just talking about movies that I want to see done right. I see Fanon over in there.
Yeah, that's some. Good for the books.
You know, Fanon, you need a dictionary to read him, man. I did. You might not. I needed a dictionary, a thesaurus, and a translator.
Yeah.
I read Wretched of the Earth. I read that back in 2000. It was in the 2000s. 2004. I had it in the 90s, but I didn't actually read it until like 2005. It was every time I opened it, I was like, oh man, I can't read this. I want to read it so bad because I need this under my belt, but man, I'm 2 pages in and I don't know what the fuck I just read. I don't know, I have no idea. And it's fucked up too, because I felt the same way when I read Blood in My Eye. I was like, what the fuck did I just read? What the hell? Like, I had to go back over it and I'm like, proletariat. What is the proletariat?
Proletariat.
Borges. What is the Borgeses? And yo, I was so bad that eventually I looked that word up, and when I realized that was the word bourgeoisie, yeah. I was like, oh shit. Cause I didn't look it up immediately. I just went along with it, not knowing what the fuck it meant, but knowing that I knew what it meant by the description of who they were, but I didn't know what that word was. I had to look up proletariat. I'm like, what's the prolet? What's the pro? What's the prolet? What the fuck is he keep talking about? But that was all that socialist. Mm. I didn't know the socialist lingo. You know what I mean? But then I learned it all. I was like, oh shit. That's what the fuck he talking about. I was lost in the sauce though. But then when I was advanced enough to read that and understand it all, that was like the dopest, the illest, hardest, craziest Black August. Still here. You know what I mean? We still in the middle of it. Craziest, dopest shit ever. Oh man. Shout out my man. Shout out to the homie Bomani. He was on early. I don't know if he's still on it with us.
So last question then.
All right, I got a question for you, right? Yeah. All right.
Both said he in the building.
That's what it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What is the one actor? Who is the one actor, male or female, who you feel like has given us a career, has given us a commendable, non-compromising, and I hate to say non-compromising because it's so hard to be in Hollywood and not compromise to a certain degree. But didn't fag out on us. You know what I'm saying? Didn't run around with the white girls on us, all in Hollywood. Who's the actor? That if you had to say, yo, not to say he is, but if you had to say he's cut from that cloth or a similar cloth. If he's not cut from the same cloth, it's very similar.
I say Bill Duke, man.
Bill Duke.
Yeah, I say Bill Duke. I say Clifton Powell. Them two is like, yeah. I think those two gave solid, commendable careers. I think Bill Duke by far from becomer, because he don't like the term actor. He said becomer.
Right, I respect.
And as a director. So the phenomenal 40-something year time span that he had on the screen. From him being Abdullah
Car wash
on up. You know what I'm saying? Like with, Patrice Lumumba in his locker.
Stealing the caddy in the beginning to Predator. I mean, not Predator. Yeah. Damn, I'm fucking them all up. Commando. Yeah.
With Patrice Lumumba in his locker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Abdullah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just inspiring over time, over the years. One of the most recognizable men from all over the world. When they see him, they remember him for minutes. You know you done fucked up, right? Whether they speak English or they don't speak English. To right now. Right now, they still remember. You know you done fucked up. That's it. Like, there's no other part of him in that film. Just a quick ad-lib right there. You see what I'm saying? Like, that phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? He's there looking at 50 Cent at the fucking cemetery. He's like, when I was young, he was like a god to me. He said, yeah, Allah, Jah, Buddha, all rolled up in one big nigga. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, you believed him every time you seen him. You see what I'm saying? He gave us hoodlum. You see what I'm saying?
He gave us hoodlum.
Like, it's so many aspects that went into his mind. And you know what I mean? He's in Predator. Motherfucker in Predator, dry shaving, looking crazy as shit, like dry shaving. He's like
dry shaving the shit out of his face. He wasn't even shaving a beard.
Right.
He was dry shaving his face.
He in the spot with the machine gun talking about, I'm gonna have me some fun. I was like, yo, this is it right here. This is it. You understand? Like that kind of presence right there, all the way live, like from one scene to the next show. Like just literally. And what was it? Was that Ragtime? What was the movie he had all of them stars in, yo? What was the joint, man? Young
Raising
Forrest
Harlem.
Whitaker, Raising
Raising
Harlem.
Harlem.
Oh my motherfucker.
Yeah,
God,
Raising
yo.
Harlem too.
Come on, yo. Yeah. And I added Clifton Powell in there because Clifton Powell, his adaptability and his range as an actor, like we be talking about Denzel, but like upon closer, with the exception of X, because I guess that's debatable. Denzel was Denzel in every movie. When he tried not to be Denzel, he did a horrible job.
When did he try not to be Denzel?
Mighty Quinn,
Okay.
a couple other joints
Hard
and
condition.
shit.
Hard condition.
yeah. He was even like he's Steve Biko, but it's Denzel, yo. Like it's the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what's the one we had the white dad in it? What's that one we had the
Carbon
white
Copy?
dad?
Carbon Copy. Yeah. He's yeah, but Clifton Powell.
Yo, they named the movie Carbon Copy.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, I never even really thought that deep about it. But this very second, the name of that movie just really like was a bomb. Like, they named this fucking movie like Denzel Washington. Because he's the argument. If someone says who's the non-compromising actor, Denzel, we got Denzel. This motherfucker was in a movie early as shit in his career called Carbon Copy. Now, you know what a carbon copy is, right? It's the piece of paper where it starts off the white paper and then they got the black shit and you write through it and then it goes to the pink paper. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's the black, that's the carbon. Then you make the copy and then it copies onto the other. So he's the white paper on the black carbon, copying. He was in this movie. And then the movie was just straight foolery. Just the foolishness that took place in that fucking movie was like, are you fucking serious? But go ahead. I didn't even mean to. I just
that was a perfect example.
I had to put that right there because people try to, you know, like the one thing I heard was, oh, well, he got shot in the ass. Yeah, he did. He did. He was crooked. But he was in a movie called fucking Carbon Copy. Never mind the movie where he was looking out the window at the white girl and he was all, it just was eerie. What was that movie? I turned it off as soon as I seen that scene. He was looking out the window at the white girl. He was protecting her or something. He just was like, I'm gonna make sure that this white girl is like everything that I have to do to make sure if I gotta sacrifice my life.
Man on Fire?
Was that it? Because he definitely did something like that. Man on Fire.
Man on Fire was hard.
That's what he wanted to end up. He wanted to end up just like his ancestors. That's what them crackers do. They light your ass on fire, you know what I mean, over them white girls. He was looking out the window.
He cut some motherfuckers' fingers off and cauterized the wound with the cigarette lighter in the car.
He did that for that little white girl.
It didn't matter about what he did.
He did that for the little white girl.
No, that's a fact. I'm not gonna say. For me to see that, I enjoy seeing shit like that. I enjoy seeing
shit like that.
Yeah, like I didn't get to see that. I enjoyed it.
Because right before that, go ahead. I'm cutting you off. My bad.
Like we saying it's for the white girl, but Christopher Walken didn't say it's for the white girl.
Christopher Walken.
He's in the movie.
Right.
He's talking to the reporter broad. He tells her, he said, a man could be an artist at many things. He said, Creasy's art is death, and he's about to paint his masterpiece. He didn't say anything to him about the girl or whatever the fuck it was. He went over there to the cave dog. The cave dog said, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill all of them. I'm going to kill everybody. Anybody who pokes their head out at me. Anybody who had anything to do with it. Anybody who benefited from it. I'm going to kill him. 100. So the motivation sounds like it's for this little. This is what he did in life. This is what he did in life. Like, this is what he was trained to do.
I get all of that part.
And he was trying not to do it, but when he did it the best. I think that was...
What you're doing is you're explaining to me the plot, right? I get all of that, but I still seen the theme.
That's a fact. I mean, that's undeniable. That's why I went back and corrected myself, because I said it didn't matter. It does matter. It matters very much. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's there, though. He's doing it the best. You know what I'm saying? He in the Mexican spot, the old head spot. He go up in the spot with the fucking rocket launcher.
Wait a minute.
This is what he said. This is what he said. People, what he said, though. People, what he said. He's in the spot with the rocket launcher.
Mm-hmm.
The old head Mexican dude said, what about forgiveness? He said, forgiveness is between him and God. I just arranged the meeting. And attack the armed convoy with the fucking rocket launcher.
I understand. I like all that hardcore shit too, bro.
I love it.
But you can't allow that shit to override.
It's not.
Okay. As long as you understand that. Because I name a bunch of movies that I probably shouldn't even like just because of that. I told you, that fucking last Rambo. That last Rambo, if you want to talk about shit like that, when he went and dragged the motherfucking cartel, that was some of the fucking most classic shit. And I seen it by mistake. I had no intentions of ever watching that shit. I caught that shit on Netflix or whatever it's on, Amazon Prime, whatever the fuck it's on. And was like, this shit too fucking hard.
I watched Inglourious
When the bitch died, I said, oh shit, she done died. Oh, they about to go now. He about to come for these motherfuckers.
I watched Inglourious Basterds a billion times just for the gore. I love it.
But
I love the shit out of it.
Denzel, I don't know if it was before or after that, but then he was in another movie where he was hell bent on going back in time to save the white bitch.
That was Deja Vu.
Break the laws of the universe. This motherfucker said,
he had some weird. There was some weirdo joints. Man. He had that joint. He had out of time was weird too. That was
he was arguing weird. The shit out of them. They said, "Listen, this is the universe you playing with right now. This ain't just us, nigga. Like, are you serious?" He looking like, man, we have to save this bitch. She's still alive. Is she still alive? They like, man, damn this bitch. She one motherfucker. We talking about billions of people. Do you not understand the word universe, nigga? He up there like, but if there's a hair of a chance, if there's a split chance that we can save her, damn the universe, she needs to be saved. I said, God damn, she must got the motherfucking, her pussy must be biting. What the fuck?
They did him dirty. They did him dirty on a couple of joints, man. That was
He did himself dirty. He know he could sign. Denzel was in the same position as Will Smith. He could sign over any role he want. He ain't had to decide. When Spike Lee made that movie, Inside Man, Spike said, I gave the script to Denzel and said, pick any role you want. Denzel gonna pick the nigga to get played by the white boy.
Crazy.
Nigga.
Right.
Nigga. We get it. You played the villain. We seen you get shot in the ass and smoked by the Russians. You understand what I'm saying? We get it already. What the fuck is you getting played by the goofy white boy, though? And who the fuck is he? Clive Owens,
whatever.
some shit like that? Who the fuck is he? He's nobody to us. You don't get played by nobody. Ethan Hawke already did you in. You don't get played by another nobody. And at least we know Ethan Hawke because we was kids with him. He was in the little movie with the kids out of space and shit. We remember him with the aliens feeding it. Nah, I be getting confused with my white boys. He wasn't feeding them M&Ms. That was the Elliot white boy with E.T. But the other E.T. looking niggas, when they flew the carnival fucking ride all the way in outer space, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. I can't remember the movie, but with the other white boy from Stand By Me, the one who died and shit, him, the river nigga. when that shit happened. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We knew Ethan from that. So we kind of was like, all right, Ethan, because you know, when we grow up with you, we kind of forget you white sometimes. I don't just keep it real. I know you was gonna say that, but just keep it real. You gotta be Tom Hanks with like certain people though. You be like, oh, that's my nigga. You know what I mean? You be but something like Bruce Willis, a motherfucker be like, Bruce Willis my nigga. Then you be like, yeah, he white. But like, yeah, that's my nigga though, man.
Dirty ass Bruce Willis, yo. Dirty ass Bruce Willis and dirty ass Kurt Russell.
Come on, man. You gonna front on Kurt Russell now though? You gonna front on Jack Burton? You gonna front on Jack Burton?
Yeah, we out of here. Dog, we ain't doing that. We not doing that. We out of here.
But seriously,
I'm about to strike this shit from the record. Like these last few minutes, we striking it from the record.
But all seriousness though, Denzel, that's what I'm just making a joke about Denzel letting us down though with that, man. Me down. I ain't gonna say I can't speak for nobody. Denzel let me down. That's really all I'm saying, man. Fuck Tom Hanks and even Bruce Willis, because he got shot. I seen a movie where Bruce Willis got shot in the ass. Nah, that's a fact. I was talking shit one day about how they always shoot brothers in the ass, and while I'm talking the shit in the movie, Bruce Willis gets shot in the ass in that movie. Shout out to my man Rich C. He was watching the movie with me and pointed out, like, nigga, he just got shot in the ass. What the fuck is you talking about, Jay? But shit, man. Shout out to all the black actors out there who never got shot in the ass, literally or figuratively.
Right.
Shout out to Bill Duke.
Man.
This was after hours, man. That's what happens when we after hours, man. You know what I'm saying? You get the after hours and get a little.
No, that's a fact. That's why I was like, yeah, no, this was the last question, because I would have been saying some wild ass shit. So, it was. I said the wild shit already with the fucking Man on Fire. So you just followed up with it. So we striking that whole part as a whole.
Part is striking.
Strike the whole shit. I was like, nah.
But it was Denzel, though. See, you know you're going to get a pass only because it was Denzel and you caught yourself. If you didn't, you caught yourself and it was Denzel.
Yeah, he shot motherfuckers. He strapped the motherfucker to the car and blew his ass up. He was like, yo, hold on, your brother wants to speak to you. He shot shit out the motherfucker. I was like, oh, shit. I love this shit. I was like, this is crazy. And the crazy shit, because you respect angles and cameras and story. Like, he's coming in there, and there's a small little part at the beginning of the movie. He's coming into Juarez, and they show him leaking, dying on the way out at the same time. So he's coming in there alive, and he's leaving out leaking. Crazy shit. I was like, I'm looking at it like, damn. I thought, because I seen this shit in Iraq, so we had the bootlegs and shit. So I'm like, wait a minute, maybe this like some Iraq shit. But every time I seen it again every time. Look, just for that same part. There's a little part where they shoot this distorted image of the mountain.
Yeah.
And they show him going in, the full bed, and he's going out with no bed and leaking. Yeah, it's nuts, yo. It's nuts. He shot my man hand off. He was like, I don't want him. I want you. It's like, oh, shit. Shorty ain't even fret. She pregnant and shit. She grabbed some ice and threw that shit on the floor and put it on his head. I was like, God damn. What kind of shit is this? That shit was bugged out, though. Yeah, man, fuck that. Say, man, I appreciate you fucking with me at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning?
It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Shit, see, I ain't even know. I ain't even know that. But yeah, we in the building. It was a pleasure. After hours, so you call me back to back too. I hit y'all. I hit y'all brothers and sisters back to back.
Shit.
I hit them back to back last night. It was last night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or this morning. And now I'm back again. You know what I mean? So stay tuned. Peace to the gods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. Night in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get
And
back
that
to
motive
the
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.